one day I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna call the other dreams version one day, and I have no idea what the hell it's gonna be. That's gonna be a funny conversation for future Oscar to have with himself and be like, what the fuck do I call these? Dreams? What is it, in quotes, aspirations? That's probably exactly what I'm gonna call it. Look at that. Look at that. Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 138. It is the second day of the week, aka the Quadzilla workout. I am on my way to the gym at a pretty decent time, hoping to God it's not too packed, but we'll see how that goes when we get there. But anyways, feeling good. Work was well. I'm looking forward to this workout. I've gotten, the editing is starting to become a little bit more flowy, so that should be good to go. That means episodes are going to be able to start pumping out regularly, thankfully. So there is that. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today, dreams, part 2. And again, like I said in the beginning, not aspirations, but dreams themselves. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this today was because I've been recently having a lot of dreams, and I've noticed that. It might be because every night that I'm sleeping, I'm getting super deep sleep, but also there's more things happening in my personal life. So because of that, maybe there's more room for dreams to happen, if that makes any sense. There's more issues, I guess, and thus my brain is trying to figure them out. So I just wanted to talk about, one, those dreams, and two, just generally, if you want to go through your own dreams and try to figure them out a little bit, maybe you can use some of these ideas that I may or may not share here, because realistically, they might mean something, they might mean nothing, who knows? It all just depends. So the main dream I wanted to talk about was last night. I had a dream. I was in a boat in a giant warehouse, and it was Christmas, and I was hiding from a guy who was trying to find me, and whilst hiding from him, I was at the bottom of the boat, and it was like a U-shaped boat that was made of wood, but then he found me easily, and I was like, oh damn. And it was very weird, but the guy was this like weird looking like scientist guy, and this isn't even like the main part of the story, but I wanted to just kind of get a juxtaposition of where I was at the beginning of the story to where I was at the end of the story, and then just see where it goes from there. So from there, I remember from that being there hiding from this guy, I all of a sudden I'm on the couch and I'm there with my wife, and we're there with our 2 dogs, and that's when I realized that one of them in real life is passed away, but I know that in my dream, so I'm like, oh my god, what is he doing here? And I remember it was like almost as if it was him, but it was him like also in partially blackened in parts, so it's like as if he was like rotting, but not really. He didn't like smell, or he felt the same. He just like had like patchy black skin, and he did his normal stuff that he would do as if he was like chilling. It was very weird. So just seeing that, it was like startling, but I was just like, all right. I almost like as if knew it was a dream at that moment, but I also was like, I'm gonna take this time to be with my dog because I have the chance to do it again. So I just stayed. It's almost as if this dream snapped back in, you know. And then it completely shifted to where I was, what was I doing? I was at a house party back in the day, or it wasn't even back in the day. I was at a house party with all of my family, cousins and aunts and uncles and all that other stuff. And then for some reason, somehow they ended up disrespecting my mom, and I think it was like that they like all abandoned her in like a weird room or something, and it was kind of weird. And I was like, I remember it was an interesting experience, because I was like, wow, they really did this to her. And she was just sad, but she was like, oh well, it happens. And then I was like, oh no. And then I remember immediately saying fuck this and going scorched earth, and then just being like, all right. And then I started going off on all of my aunts and uncles with all of the issues that their family has, like immediately just started saying like the most vile shit that I could think of on the spot to these people, because I was like, how dare you disrespect my mom like this? That was a very interesting pivot, because I'm not one to like be that type of person, burn all the bridges, especially with family or something like that. But it was a very interesting thing, because I remember in my dream, and I remember waking up and thinking, man, it would be so satisfying to be like a bridge burner. And maybe that is a interesting thing of the dark side that I have not really explored really, and I wonder why that has come up and stuff. It's interesting, but that is something that I want to talk about more on the voiceover, is just kind of the exploration exploration of these ideas and as to why they've come up and why maybe certain things make sense, maybe certain things don't make sense. Obviously, it all just depends. But it's interesting to at least think about, analyze, and really question why. Because there were certain things that I could tell you from that dream that I enjoyed, but also certain parts that I would say have more of a meaning than not. Like my dog, I miss my dog. You know what I mean? Like that's as simple as that. But the other part of it is the thing with my family. It's like, why did I feel such a disrespect towards me if this disrespect was happening to somebody else in my family? Do I feel this disrespect somewhere? Do I, you know what I mean? There's a lot of questions, and maybe there's going to be no answers. Who knows? But we will have to wait and see, and we'll talk about that when we get inside. Alright, so started this day off with squats, which were pretty good. It was nice to go back on this Quadzilla day because I had skipped the previous week, so this was nice. Besides that, though, it was pretty good. To get back to the main subject matter at hand, dreams part 2. So the reason why I wanted to even talk about this dream now, it's been like weeks since I had this dream, but weirdly, and this is actually something great about dreams, is that the moment I started talking about it again in this video and rewatching it, I instantly remembered a lot of the dream itself. So I do remember elements of it that I was like, what is this again? And I was like, oh yeah, oh my god, it was that. And particularly talking about it and thinking about it a little bit more, just hearing it again from a now more future perspective of mine, it's interesting that the big two things that I saw here is that the bridge burner idea and the family. What is the family meaning in this? You know, like, why did I see my dog that I miss? Obviously, you know, that might be just something that is whatever, it's nothing too crazy, but what about the juxtaposition of having what is my close family, aka my dogs and my wife, were just hanging out, versus my extended family, like my cousins and all of that, where I want to be with certain ones, but then the other ones, they do other things to hurt me. Now, I'm not going to extrapolate this to actual life because I don't think that's actually true, but it was a very interesting juxtaposition thinking about it a little bit more. It's like, I wonder, why did I feel like this? And why did I like the feeling of burning bridges? I guess part of me is like, I know that is a part of me that I don't necessarily like to do. I don't necessarily believe in it per se, the burning bridges part, but it is something that I could see being satisfying to me, especially if I was to listen to the dark side inside me and really just let loose and just say whatever I want. And that's the thing about dreams, really, is when you look at your dreams, one of the big things is to look at all of the elements that go through it and what are the feelings that you get from certain elements of the dream, or reminders of certain things, you know, like, for example, feeling I had of like the burning bridges part. I was so satisfactory for some reason. I felt like empowered, alive almost. It was very interesting. It was something that I haven't felt per se in regular life, but it is something that, you know, that feeling that you get when you win an argument in a fantasy, what is it, in the shower or something along those lines. It was almost that same feeling of like a weird high, but yet it's just an imaginary thing. It didn't really happen, but it was interesting because I felt it like as if I had been like winning an argument against people. But I'm also like, it's against my family. I don't think I'd ever really burn a bridge with them regardless, because I do like a good chunk or a majority of them, so there's no point in trying to do something like that. So I don't understand that aspect of it, and trying to like wrap my head around the entire idea of why those two things were there is very interesting, and trying to look at what each thing symbolizes. So for example, my dogs symbolize, you know, things that I love, things that I cherish. Family is also something that I cherish, but once the family hurts me, I'm willing to hurt it back. Interesting thing, but why? I don't think I had anything in my personal life that really had to do with anything like this, but I'm also like, I haven't seen my family in such a long time. I see my dogs I see my one dog every day, and I see my other one most of the time whenever I look at photos now. But it is something where I'm like, okay, this is interesting, even though I haven't seen them in a long time, and maybe I hold them in great esteem as well. The moment that they disappoint me, I'm willing to say fuck them, which is an interesting little tidbit there. And that's the other thing about this dream, is that it felt slightly important when I had it, but then And now I forgot that I had it, but now I came back to it, and it's like, oh, I immediately knew that the feelings that I had with it. And that's the thing about dreams, is that you know they mean something when they have an emotional charge behind them. So be aware of that, and then you can really just start interpreting them from there. You ever have any of those dreams where you wake up abruptly? And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed. None. Exercises skipped. Also none. Got everything in today, which was actually a little bit surprising. I was about to skip the last two, and then I remembered, oh yeah, the last time I went, I didn't actually go, and the time before that, I had to skip the last two because they were both being used, which was super annoying, but I got it in, so I'm happy about that. But anyways, we are on the way home right now, tired. I'm about to do a little bit of a post-workout shake, and then I'm done for the day. And then, I don't know why I did that, but anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Dreams. This episode of Dreams, this is going to be a multi-part series. I'll probably do I don't know how many parts I'm actually going to do, but I want to say maybe 10. Who knows? I can't give it a number yet. We're gonna have to wait and see how many they go. But this one was more of a personal example of dreams. Then we can get into so many little parts and other parts of dreams as per se, like let's say we get into the greater unconscious, the dreams where people see like the future, the dreams where people live out the next day, that type of stuff. All those types of dreams and a lot more, your personal ways to interpret a dream. I wanted to use my own dreams as a basis of how I can interpret my own issues and own things that are going on in my brain, and try to develop something further, and maybe you can use that as a template. I don't think I'll have gone into too much detail as to why I know these things are happening, but it is a good basis of where I could go in the next one, and we can discuss further things like themes and feelings and the other symbolism that happens a lot in dreams and those things that may or may not mean something or be absolutely nothing. It all just truly depends, but it all depends on you. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and I appreciate it. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions about dreams. I always love talking about them. It's probably one of my favorite subjects to talk about in general with people, because everybody has their own dreams and they're relatively unique. And if they don't have dreams, that is also unique, because there's probably a reason for it. Then it becomes a whole other conversation about spirituality and things like that. Maybe drugs too. We'll talk about that someday too. But that's for a different part of this multifaceted series. I might make the thumbnails for these a little bit special just because of all of the things that I'm going to be talking about / the subject matters I'll go into. They won't be as consistent as I would like it to be, but I will try to do an installment whenever the time is right and or I have nothing to talk about, but also there's always something to talk about, but we'll see about that. But thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Hopefully this time I will have the editing all sorted out. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe. Peace.